That night I called Max, I was like, what if we finish the whole car for him without him knowing? If all goes to plan, we're gonna make a grown man cry.
As car enthusiasts, we are predictable. We buy a car, we dream about it, we pull it apart, and then we buy stuff for it. Things to make it faster, louder, stronger, look better, ride nicer, you name it, we buy it. But eventually we run out of money. So we put it on jack stands until we're ready. Eventually, this leads to the death of all hope and motivation. Sad face. So the next logical thing to do is to sell it, because when are we gonna have the time or the money to finish it? Sad face, but in yellow. Eventually, you'll regain your confidence and motivation and buy a new car, and the cycle will continue. So we thought, why don't we break the cycle? One car and one person at a time. We knew going into this it was going to be a lot of work. What we didn't anticipate is the motor having hidden damage that would ruin everything we had planned.
The motor's freaking broke, and he's coming to pick this up tomorrow.
To top things off, Colby could walk in unannounced at any point in time.
Colby, the freaking owner of the car, walks in. This is a K24 swap Civic. I know you've seen thousands of those by now. This car came here for intercooler piping. Little does he know, instead of just doing the intercooler piping, we're gonna finish the entire car for him. Most of you guys understand, when you're an adult and you have bills and stuff to pay, stuff like this goes on the back burner. Colby's a good dude. He's been out supporting us at the racetrack. That night I called Max, I was like, what if we finish the whole car for him without him knowing? I have his fiance and his future brother-in-law in on what we're doing. So that's another reason I was able to acquire some of those parts. You got a few goodies back here, some S1 built bracketry and such for the all-wheel drive stuff. Inside's got a pretty sweet little shifter, finishing lines, handbrake, all finishing lines, brake lines. All four corners are finishing line brakes. I've got a lot of work to do, so let's jump right in where I left off. All-wheel drive transmission. He didn't have this in the car because this section right here, which is where the transfer case, I think you'd call it, this whole part was cracked, so I built it up with some weld. The transmission was also split in two and torn apart, so Morgan put it all back together and then drilled and tapped that because I didn't trust myself. So that's done. Traction bar has been installed. That's just literally a bar that bolts from frame rail to frame rail. Does exactly what you think it does. Helps with traction and stiffness. These guys here, I believe, bolt from traction bar to another part of the frame rail. I don't know, we're gonna find out. So what I've done is welded two tabs on the subframe, and that's what's holding the radiator up. We still have to make a top support. What we're figuring out right now is kind of the routing of the intercooler pipe. I then realized in the middle of doing that, I've never had all of the parts needed for a build at one time. And so I've never been able to make a thumbnail like that. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is work from the turbo to the intercooler and then kind of see where we want it, then mount it. Okay, so right off the bat, this is what we got here, which is about a 2" to a 2.5. There's not really a tight enough 90 to make that work, even if I put it down, because we're gonna have shift linkage right here. Okay, I found this 90, which would work great. I dislike how that looks strongly. It's too much silicone, in my opinion. That's just me. So we're gonna probably cut this 3/4 of the way up, and then I'm gonna do some pie cuts real quick, make a tighter 90 that'll send this out where we want it, weld it to the turbo. Got that situated. Next thing we're gonna do real quick, we're gonna route this one because this is gonna kind of dictate where that one is going to go, because we only have so many options with how that is gonna get to here. Slight change of plans. We got that pipe done. That connects from this 90 up to the throttle body. First off, I keep staring at that, and I don't like how that looks, so I'm gonna do my best to sand those welds down and just make it look like it was part of the turbo. We're gonna be powder coating most of this, but pie cuts only look good if you weld really good, and I'm not quite there yet, and that just don't look good. Speaking of pie cuts, the other part of the change of plan, which these welds aren't too bad. Anyways, we're gonna cut this back about 1.5 inches, and then this is gonna sit right there, weld it to the intercooler, and then from there we will go down, where's our reducer? 3 to 2.5, and then that pipe will come down and meet this. So We got to take all that off, lop that off, weld this on, and then we will make that next pipe. Pipe is about cool. What I did with the turbo here was I took the angle grinder to it, ground down the welds, and then went back over it with the welder just to make sure I didn't make any of it too thin, and then kind of smooth the lines. And I'm going to go over that with the 180 grit with the sander once that cools off. This is the blow off valve. So I cut the flange off. We're going to clean this up. This is probably going to go right under there. There's a slight, you can kind of see there's a slight up angle. It's not perfectly straight with that, so really cut that and maybe just sand down like a 1/4 inch and then weld it back together, and that should make that angle better. Recently, we have found a collection of various Black Widows in this establishment. I don't know what that spider web is from, but I spent some time in here. I don't want to find out. Dead. Why isn't it? Okay, they're dead. Go away. Stop it. Wow. Black Widow dead. For show. Did a little bit of trimming on the bumper. What we're gonna end up doing is cutting this whole mesh section out. It's still poking the intercooler just because this thing is so huge. Our blade broke for the bandsaw there, so gotta wait till Harbor Freight opens. I got here stupid early today. Okay, so Colby wants the exhaust to come right out of the fender here. This fuse box is normally mounted, I think, right there-ish. I don't know, because it was like that when it came here. So we need to put that inside the car. What I'm doing right now, because I'm not super excited to do that, is mocking up how this is gonna run. So I cut one pie cut off of this. It's still angled in a little too much. We need it to face like that a little bit more. What we need to do is cut this and angle it back so that instead of the wastegate being up here, it's gonna be about like this. Cutting a nice hole through this and then matching it through the fender is not gonna be fun. I like the fact that he didn't just want it out the hood, because that's what everybody does. This is gonna be equally loud and obnoxious, but it'll be different, maybe a little more tasteful depending on who you ask. So based on some advanced measuring, this is 5.5
to right here to here, 5.5, and then 6 across. So this should be dead center 3 from side to side, and that should be 2 3/4, which I think is half of 5.5. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, it's right next to this freaking hole. Why that sucks is I was going to drill a hole there and then use a hole saw. The center drill bit on a hole saw is what keeps it in place, and it's not really gonna work with that. And the plan was to do it from outside in, because putting a drill and centering it in there would be kind of not ideal. I've never in my life actually used a level on an exhaust, but there you have it. So if we match the angle from there straight out of the hole, it was gonna touch the firewall even after cutting off those studs. So we're gonna do this and chop it right about right there. Just do a nice little S and then chop out, chop out. All right, so we have a slight predicament. This is looking great. Took a lot of effort to make that work because I didn't want to redo that. So that's where the wastegate's gonna tie back into. Anyways, so I traced the inside of the fender, right, with how that's gonna go. And technically, if we're going straight, it's here-ish. So it's right on this body line, which I think might look kind of silly. Options are either to do that just above the body line or to go just below it. I'm kind of liking that. I think I got it lined up pretty good. The sketchy part is I don't know if I have enough room to make this swoosh to come up, because again, it's like right here. So I think I'm just gonna send it. Oh no. Yeah, that's not enough room. Gosh dang it. Now we're gonna find out if this is all gonna fit, or if like right here I should need to put a V-band for the fender swoosh. Cross your fingers. It is off by that much, but I can't get it. So after cutting the tacks to put this V-band on, I then realized this V-band is not gonna fit through the 3-inch hole, because in total it's bigger than the 3-inch. Then I also realized I was gonna trim the exhaust down shorter anyways, and so all I did was took about 1.5 inches off of this, and then it ended up clearing. So got this line drawn on there, and I think that's where I'm gonna cut it, be just slightly above the fender, and then long term we'll make like a stainless or aluminum like beauty ring to protect the paint. To my surprise, level, which is pretty sweet. So now to take it off for the 17th time and go zap.
Doesn't fit. You measured it, not me.
Shut up. That's what I was hoping for. True fitment. Dang, dude. That actually looks really nice.
Yeah, it does.
I'm glad you made that suggestion. Just enough to make it look like we did it on purpose. I'm really glad you suggested to make that straight. Like that actually looks like from the get-go that was the plan.
Yes.
little.
Which it was, remember?
It was not.
It's good, yeah?
It's fast.
You can't even see from where you're at what Max did. Perfectly. Yeah. Look, they are perfectly parallel.
It's nice to have a friend in fabrication who does an L. Oh, they are anal. My bad.
Anal, dumbass. Have I spent almost 2 days on this? Yes. Is it unnecessary? Yes. Are we done yet? No. So I wanted it to fit here, fill this void. As you can see, there's some wheel well going on there, so that's why this looks so origami. It's gonna fit right there, real nice like. So now what we're gonna do, the bottom is fully welded. We're gonna cut all these tacks off, make some baffles. We're gonna drill a hole here and here for the bungs to go to the valve cover. And then over here is gonna be the filter. If we get too crazy, we should probably make sure it don't leak. I don't see no leaks. That's if that ever gets filled up, something's wrong with the motor. The bungs are going to be here, so the pressure from the valve cover is going to come in here. It's going to have to go through these holes and those cracks, go through there. It's going to be deflected down so that it has to, basically the oil that's going to pass through here is going to go down and then come through these holes, and then we'll cut a hole in that and then stuff one of those along there and boom, filter. Okay, onto the part I'm pretty nervous about. So I added this little piece here and then sanded this flat, just that way when this meets on top, this is sealed from that, you know, otherwise everything we did would be kind of pointless. So now what we're gonna do, this side's gonna be the filters, and then there and there are gonna be the two bungs that go from here to the engine. What I'm nervous about is I'm gonna try and, you know, I'm trying to make this look nice. So what I'm gonna do is drill a hole and a hole, and then cut a straight line to connect the two, but that way the ends are rounded, you know, instead of just a box that'll probably be crooked anyways. That's the plan. Wish me luck. If you guys ever are doing this Evil Energy company on Amazon, this is usually where we get our bungs from. Some of these, they put a real nasty, like, anodized coating on them, which doesn't make any sense to me because they're aluminum, but these show up pretty freaking clean, kind of ready to roll. I'm gonna drill holes for these, and what we're gonna do is weld the bottom so that there are no welds visible on top, so it's gonna look kind of like a nice, clean, I don't think machined look is the right term, but you kind of get what I'm saying. So we're gonna drill these out. Just thought I'd tell you guys though, we've been ordering from these guys for a hot minute and pretty happy with what we're getting. So made this bracket, basically had it leveled, sitting in there, then kind of realized like how tall that was actually gonna be. This barely touches the hood. I discovered that if I cut this mount off and actually just angled it down, it matched that downward slope of the fender right there. And it actually looks nicer, I think. This section here stuck out to about there a minute ago, and it was touching and preventing us from diagonaling. So now that is cut away. I'm gonna cut this little guy out, slap it there, redo this bottom mount, angle this one a little bit, fully weld it, and then we're freaking golden, dudes. still freaking warm, which is crazy because it's been like 20 minutes. So that, I'm gonna sit right like that, right like that. Voila, boom. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, okay? But it's done. It's there. It's perfect. It's great. You can still access fuses. Isn't that cool? Okay, awesome. Moving on forever, not doing that again. Okay, we're at a point now where I think I'm going to rip everything off that we just built and pull this engine and transmission out and get the all-wheel drive transmission bolted on. You said the clutch isn't torqued, so I'm assuming none of this is going to be very tight. I hope it's 18 because my 19 no está aquí. Fail. This is new. 4-piston oil pump. That's fancy. I don't have anything like that on my thing, so good. I'm calling to confirm. So remember, this whole thing is a secret, right? So there's only so much I can ask without getting in trouble, but because we're gonna try and start this thing, I wanna make sure this is all installed correctly and it's all torqued. Colby's gonna call me back. I'm gonna make sure that is good. We don't have to touch it. Again, getting off topic, I'm gonna drill a hole in that thing. I welded the inside and the outside just to make sure that's not something we want to find out. There's a pinhole in one of my welds after it's all put together. So we're gonna clean this up, kind of scrub this, get all that junk out, obviously get all the shavings out. He also told me is while all of this behind here is good, there is no sealant on this timing cover. So we gotta pop that off, and while that is off, we are going to clean it up. I really thought about powder coating it, but I think just a good scrub and then maybe a real light, quick polish would probably be good enough because you're not gonna see majority of that. Cleaned it up, sanded it with 220 or 180, I think actually, so pretty rough. All we're gonna do, because all we're kind of shooting for is just like clean factory look. This Zephyr compound, this is what I always go over after I actually buff, and it does a pretty good job all by itself of polishing. I've had this same tube for I don't even know how long. You can see it work immediately because all this is gonna start to turn black. So then after you have this rubbed on to your heart's content, you can start taking it off. You're gonna probably use 4 or 5 of these shop towels to get all of the crud off. Each paper towel is gonna be black by the time we're done with it, and you wanna just keep doing that until there's nothing on the paper towel, on the shop towel. See, just from there. See, there's still some coming off of it, bro. We'll reseal it, call it a day. Should these be torqued to spec? Absolutely. Are we gonna do that?
I say yes.
I have like one pair of
What'd you say?
That's the one I can use it.
I'm asking about buckering.
Do I need to hold this crank bolt?
We might.
Well, he
I knew
torques
right
that?
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out here in a second.
I'm pretty sure you will.
And breathables ain't cheap.
That was so much noise for that amount of smoke.
I'll give you that.
And that little
Yours
smoke.
is
That
a
little
lot more
smoke.
smokier.
That was so bad.
So I have a very exciting cliffhanger to end this episode off on, which
For approximately the last 4 hours, I've been trying to figure out why this mount was mounted to the front wheel drive transmission and will not mount to this. I can't remember where it went, but there's nowhere to put it. And then I found out this part of the mount is different, right? So then I was looking at Hasport's website. All we could find was that you need an EG subframe to use the all-wheel drive mount on that transmission. I was like, crap, now I got to get a different subframe. So then I thought, maybe let's just call Colby, just because he knows the motor's out. He knows we're doing that part of it, right? I told him, I was like, you know, we're here on board. I'm slow on work. Let's just do it, right? So whatever. After 4 hours of using AI and Google and all this other stuff to make sure I had to get an EG subframe, he tells me, oh yeah, that is an EG subframe. Gosh, dang it. Okay, cool. I was like, okay, so now we just need the mount. And he's like, no, I bought the mount. It's either in the car or it's at my house. Took all of 3 seconds, went to the passenger side, and I found the freaking all-wheel drive mount that I've spent hours Googling. It's been in my possession the entire time. Cool, awesome. So now we have everything to put the motor in, right? You think everything is hunky-dory. So then he was like, oh yeah, and I have the timing cover for you. So before you put the motor in, like, I'll bring that to you. And I was like, dude, don't worry about it. Like, I already have the freaking timing cover and it's polished. Like, oh no, that one's cracked. And I was like, no, it looks pretty good to me. It's like it's at the top of it, it's cracked. Right there, as you can see. Didn't make it all the way through, but it is cracked. All it took was a phone call, a literal like 65-second phone call to find all this out. And I've wasted hours of today trying to figure something out on the Google that I could have just found out with that phone call. Next episode, the engine will be in the car. We will make everything pretty. We will paint the front end. We have fuel lines to make. From what I gathered from his tone of voice in our conversation, he's completely clueless as to what he was telling me, how much work is left to do on the car, how much work he has left to do on the car. He has no idea we are doing this, and that is what we want. Why do I keep talking like this? 1 week on the dot from today, the next video will be up. Thank you all for watching. Son of a biscuit.